Yeah. And obviously, with leading a team of multiple marketers is probably challenging. And also communicating from client and putting their idea into a physical form is also a challenge. So, what would you say your advice on leadership would be in the position of planning out a marketing campaign?
Yeah, I think that, an overarching message is to seek first to understand. So as a leader, I understand that I might not have the best idea, and I don't really care. I just want to arrive at whatever I feel like is the best opportunity for my clients. And so even if I'm leading a team, I work with people and have worked with people who come up with these ideas, and I think, my gosh, that's brilliant, and I love it. But the hard part of it is you might think that it's a beautiful idea, but then you've still got to sell your client. And so it's an interesting dynamic where we come up with these beautiful ideas and then we place them on the lap of the client and say, we think that this is a good idea because of this, this, and this. But there is still kind of a process where we've got to arrive at the same ideas and understanding as to why we're doing the things that we're doing. And so there's different dynamics and variables involved that make it challenging, but at the same time, if we're all on board and seeking to do the same work and arrive at the same end results, which is to generate more money for our clients, then we'll get there at some point, but that doesn't mean that it's always easy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it said that you're an entrepreneur. So what do you feel is the core to entrepreneurship?
Boy, that's a fantastic question. I think that somebody asked me once upon a time what the most important thing is within business. And I think that the answer that you just asked is actually, I'll give you the same answer, which is you have to be adaptable. Because you might enter into, entrepreneurship thinking, okay, it's going to be this and this and this. And then it's like real life sets in and you realize, okay, boy, this is a lot different than I anticipated. And so I have to be adaptable and understand what I can do differently to adapt and to still be successful. And so entrepreneurship, I don't know if you've seen the graphics, but there's a graphic out there that says what you think entrepreneurship is. And there's like a straight line going upward where, you're reaching your goals and then next to that straight line on this this graph, this post, it says what entrepreneurship really is. And there's all these squiggly lines where you're all over the place and you're up and you're down. And that's accurate. We have that, in our minds that the success story is going to be linear when in reality it's not. And so the short answer is you just have to be adaptable and keep going.
Right.
Yeah.
So, were you what was it called? Were you a founder of Rev Marca, or I saw that?
Yes.
On that.
So Rev Marca was basically an outsourced fractional chief marketing officer agency, and I was a one-man band there where I would work. It's kind of the same work that I'm doing right now as a freelancer, where I'm not necessarily tied to any particular business, but I worked with a handful of different companies on their marketing initiatives. And so Rev Marca was something that I did for about a year and a half, and I thought this is going to be probably my career for the duration. And then what ended up happening was a marketing agency called Gravitate One came to me, and I've known about Gravitate since their inception. The gentleman who founded it was a lifelong friend of mine, and I had been able to pass them business. And they said, "Hey, Eric, we like what you're doing. We want you to come on as our president." And so I joined Gravitate, and the clients that I had at Rev Marca came from with me to Gravitate, where instead of me being a one-man band, Gravitate is an agency of anywhere between 15 to 20 individuals, where we had dozens and dozens and dozens of clients, and my responsibilities changed a little bit from being the do-it-all type of person to then managing a lot of accounts and bringing on new business, and that was a lot of fun. So I was with Gravitate for a little over 2 years, and while I was at Gravitate, we were able to grow the agency to to all-time best records in retention and revenue. And but then at the beginning of the year, I decided that I wanted to go back out on my own, and here I am. And so it's, going back to your question about entrepreneurship, I think that's kind of like what I've experienced, where it's not necessarily that straight line, but it's been a little bit of everything, and ups and downs, but very exhilarating. And so I'm thrilled to be back on my own. I'm still in great terms with Gravitate. I'm still past them business, and but I am happy to be the one-man band again, and doing my own thing.
All right.
So like you were saying, there are like different ways of like marketing a product. So with you, what is some of the most useful or most popular ways of marketing something?
Yeah, and I think that a lot of it goes back to understanding what is the product or service that you're trying to market, and then where is the client persona. So going back to the idea of the client persona, where are they consuming their content? And so if I'm trying to market some computer software to somebody who's probably in their 40s or 50s, I'm probably not going to be spending a lot of time marketing on TikTok. That's just the truth of it. But am I going to spend more time on LinkedIn? Yeah, absolutely, because that person is likely on LinkedIn quite a bit. Are they on Facebook? Yeah, probably, but I don't know that I'd put a ton of budget there, but I will send out email campaigns to them. And so it's kind of like a reverse engineering of sorts, where once you understand who you're marketing to, then you can piece together a marketing plan that is going to be successful depending on who that particular individual or group is that you're trying to attract attention from, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And obviously there's different marketing strategies that, you could use to efficiently market a product. So one of the most common ones is referred as the 4 Ps. Are you familiar with those?
I am, yep.
Yeah. So it's place, price, promotion, and product.
Yep.
So in the stages of how these would be used in your way of marketing anything, how would you use these to efficiently market?
Yeah, and there again, understanding the 4 Ps. So, as I put together marketing plans for different clients, all of those considerations are put together initially so that I can outline why we are doing what we're doing. And so if we understand those 4 Ps, then those 4 Ps help us to understand what's the next step. Well, the next step means if our price is really high, then we're going to try to do things that are reaching out to an audience that is more focused on luxury. If our price is low, then we can hang out in other areas or other arenas where maybe it's going to attract somebody who is not as interested in high prices, or doesn't have the ability to pay more money for a product or service. And so, those 4 Ps are kind of a determining factor in that client persona that I've talked about, where we're understanding all of the particulars, and that helps to guide the customized game plan or marketing approach for what we're doing with that particular client.